Hey guys, how's it going? This is Chris Williams, REI, real estate entrepreneur out of Central California. Today I have the privilege of interviewing my friend Dean Rogers. I've known Dean for a few years. I don't know, what, 6, 7 years, something like that.
Yep.
Probably right around the time you got started.
Yep.
But I know Dean runs a phenomenal company called Home Helpers Group. I think you're all around California, something like that. Wholesales, fix and flips. So really, I would love Dean today to just dive into your story, who you are, how you got started, where you're at today, and I think our viewers here would just love to hear that and get a lot of value out of that.
Well, thanks for having me, dude. You got an awesome podcast going. You got a lot of people who are clearly liking what you're doing, man. So
Yeah,
appreciate you having me on.
thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we met about 7 years ago. It was right when I was
Yeah,
getting started, and I was reaching out to people trying to see what other people were doing stuff, and you were iBuyHousesFresno.com,
yeah,
and
that's it.
I was like, "Who's this guy?" And we connected on the phone, and you were doing stuff, man. You were taking action. You were getting stuff done, and I was like,
Mhm.
"All right, cool."
Yeah.
So that's all when I was figuring stuff out, and there wasn't as much free information on
Oh,
like how
for
to get
sure.
started,
Yeah.
but there was just enough, which I'll play into. So yeah, man, I've been doing this for about 8 years now, and everyone's got a different story. But like how I
Yeah.
got started was, out of college, right out of college, went to play NFL
Hmm.
football, played for the Chargers, and had like an insane experience. Dude. It was like amazing. Everything you could dream and hope for, like growing up as a kid, like
Yeah.
I was there
Hmm.
and on the team and sharing, a couple lockers away from, Philip Rivers and
Yeah.
Ryan Matthews, which for us local guys is a name that we
Yeah.
all know.
Definitely.
And like it was insane, and it was a lifestyle. You could make whatever you want as a lifestyle, right? Like you could go off the deep end, or you could kind of follow a more straight and narrow
Yeah.
path. And so for me, kind of to flash forward, like how that experience went. I'll save the stories for some other stuff,
Hmm.
or if you got any questions. But basically, it was like one of those surreal moments where I had Norv Turner stopping me in the hallways, like, Dean, like you're gonna have a long career,
Hmm.
and playing in the games, like I just came out of those feeling fulfilled, knowing like, dude, I can play at this level. Like this is
Yeah.
awesome. So all of that was good. All of that was good, but I went from playing running back in high school to playing tight end in college to primarily playing fullback for the
Hmm.
Chargers. And, you know, playing fullback, playing against the best of the best in the world, people who are just as big as you, just as fast as you, and instead of coming off of the line when it's a run play and blocking as a tight end 1 or 2 yards away from someone, I'm now running full speed 10 yards away from each other, trying to kill each other, and
Yeah.
you're running through a narrow hole, and the best way to blast that person is to lead with your head. You
Yeah.
know, it's just a reality. No matter how much practice you do, like you're gonna crush your brains in. And I was feeling the effects, man. I was feeling the effects. I remember coming out of just practices, like ice in the back of my head, like,
Oh
whoa,
man.
dude, whoa, like this is pretty. Although I'm playing great from the neck down, I felt phenomenal. Like the trainers and the nutrition and the supplements, like everything. And I'll just go on the record. I was clean. Like I was hardly even taking protein.
Yeah.
I was
Uh,
hardly even taking protein. But just like my body had never felt better. But just that one thing, man, just beating in your brains. That's the one tough thing about that sport,
oh yeah.
aside from just other injuries, ligament
Hmm.
injuries and stuff. So I made one of the hardest decisions in my life to hang up the cleats, man. And it was such a hard decision. And I still have dreams. I still have dreams where I'll wake up, and I had a dream where I'll have dreams where I'm still playing. I'm still there.
Yeah.
I'm in the
Oh man.
locker room. I'm playing in a game, and I'm like, oh, I'll wake up thinking about it. But I know I'd be a vegetable at like
Oh,
the age of
totally.
50.
Yeah.
So hard decision, but I learned so much just from sports. Like that all has transitioned and played a role in my professional career in the working world, and just the discipline and the structure and the work ethics and stuff has all translated, and the competitiveness. Like I love to win. Just
Yeah.
I play pickup basketball today, to this day, because I need that competition in my life.
Definitely.
And so anyways, how'd I get into the business, man? I came out of that, and I got started right away working. Like I didn't like take a year off. I didn't like think about life and contemplate what I wanted to do. It was just like one thing that led to another. Started working in San Francisco, corporate job. Right away, a buddy from college was like, "Hey, Dean, I know you're done playing. Like, dude, I got a killer opportunity. Like, you can't miss out on this. This company's about to go public. Like, it's the right place." And it was everything that I kind of dreamt of, what my corporate working life would look like. And so I moved up to San Francisco with my wife and lived in a 424 square foot condo and paying insane amounts of money for it, feeling broke. But I worked my tail off for a little over a year, and I had an epiphany moment where I worked so hard. I'm like, dude, I crushed it. They're going to give me a huge raise. Like, how could they not? I'm ready to make six figures at this company. And they're like, yeah, good work. And I think they maybe paid me like $1,000 more on my salary, right?
Wow.
And I wasn't in a sales job where if you crush it, like you're going to see that bonus go up. So for me, I was like, whoa, I got to like take life into my own hands. And I had to, I just went home. I remember going home and like thinking about life, like, what is it? What else am I passionate about? What else do I like? And I remember watching Dean Graziosi late night infomercials about how to get started in real estate. And I almost bought his course several times, like in my teenage years, And so I remember telling him that in the airport when I saw him too. I was like, I almost bought your course. So I just typed in how to get started in real estate, and I found Sean Terry's free podcast, Flip to Freedom.
Dude.
And that, Sean Terry's a legend. He was already in the game as a known guy and putting out free content. And I became overly obsessed with like, okay, this is it. And I just started listening to his free podcasts.
Yeah.
And he was walking through exactly how he was doing these things. He was just telling it play by play. So much so that I was nervous where to do it, like where to start investing. I was living in San Francisco. I wasn't going to do it there. I was intimidated by these multi-million-dollar houses. I wasn't quite ready to do it where I grew up in Visalia, in the Central California. So I just followed exactly what he was doing. He was teaching how to bid on houses on HUDHomestore.com and how you could get these properties. And so I just did the same thing that he was doing in Arizona, where his market is, and got some properties under contract and did it quickly. And my first deal that I closed was actually, because I couldn't sell it quick enough, was contacting Sean Terry and co-wholesaling it with him.
Wow.
And he sold it right away. We got it closed. I made $6,000. He made $6,000. And I was like stoked. I was like, this is real. And it was 3 months from the very first day I did the search on Google.
Dude, that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Sean Terry's podcast was my catalyst for getting back into it. I don't know if you know my story. There's not time here, but just, doing wholesaling for a couple of years and then failing and giving up. It was Sean Terry's podcast. Of listening to it. Yeah, listening to his podcast while driving around in between properties as being a project manager for another flipper, just hearing him every day. And, I think most of his episodes back then was basically like he would just leave a seller appointment, get the contract signed, and then he'd pull up his phone and like record a podcast about, how he got the deal, what he did, his conversation and all that. And It was just so motivating to hear that. And he always put it just so plainly and simple. And yeah, it's just insane. It's crazy.
That's what I love about his stuff is he would come back and just give you like real life situations. And that's why we'll maybe talk about it later. You know, me starting a YouTube channel. I got a segment called Deals with Dean where I'm going to do that same thing. I'm just going to talk about real deals. What was the problem, the situation, how we overcame it. And a lot of that is inspired by Sean Terry. And he just gave so much real life information. It wasn't like, you could get rich in real estate. It was like, yo guys, like if you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of money, like you can get started in real estate and this is how you can make money. And just gave real information, and like you said, just put it so simple that I could do those exact same things. I could say those exact same things to the seller and have those same results. So super powerful.
Totally. Yeah. All right. So you left the NFL. You were in corporate America, what, year and a half. Found Sean Terry. You jumped into it. Man, 3 months. That's a really good turnaround. So I mean, I know you eventually started flipping. So when you wholesaled that first property, the light didn't click of like, you can wholesale full time, or how was that transition from you closed your first wholesale deal to now you're going in and buying these fixer uppers and flipping them?
Yeah. So my summarized full story of to where I'm at today is, you know, year one, I had to go back and check the records. I think about eight wholesale deals. Okay. Mm-hmm. A couple of them were in Arizona, and then I finally transitioned into my local market and the market I'm still in today, where I grew up in Central California, and started marketing, following exactly what Sean Terry was telling me to do with direct mail. And so I was getting traction, and about a year into it, I had been wholesaling a couple properties to my now business partner.
Okay.
And so I had been wholesaling him deals, and he was like, dude, I love what you're doing. Like you're good at finding deals. Like, you want to flip houses together? I was like, yeah, but like I don't know what to do on that area. Like I'm fully immersed in like how to find deals, how to talk to sellers. Didn't know the flipping part, and it wasn't like entirely intimidating, but it was the unknown, you know? Yeah. He's like, dude, I got you covered. Just keep finding the deals. I'll take care of the rest. And I was like, all right, cool. So from there, it kind of snowballed. There's a funny like sidetrack story that is like probably a cautionary tale for new people. Like if you're gonna get started and dive fully in on especially flips, because there's more risk in a flip than there is wholesaling.
Totally.
When you're wholesaling, your biggest risk is like marketing and spending the dollars, spending too many dollars and not knowing how to handle those leads.
Yeah.
Or spending the dollars on the wrong type of marketing that aren't going to get results. So, but for flipping, like if you just dive in and you don't have the right contractor, you bought the deal wrong, like you didn't do your comps right, you could get pretty messed up.
Yeah.
So to summarize, like my first 5 flips were actually in Arizona. Funny enough, my partner was like, it's drying up a little bit here in Visalia, even though the market was still phenomenal compared to now. Yeah. He's like, it's drying up a little bit. You want to do some flips in Arizona? Sounds like you're like, you know what you're doing there. Like, you know how to find deals. I'm like, sure. So, you know, we get realtors and contractors lined up. We buy 5 properties within like 30 days.
Wow.
And 3 of them went perfectly fine. Wholesaled one, quick flip on another. One was, you know, okay. And then 2 of them just got annihilated. Like just lost so much money.
Yeah.
And we held them for like a year and a half. They had contractor issues with like doing horrible jobs and then bailing on the job, had to redo the whole thing. Like the comps were wrong because on one side of the street it was like perfect comps, on this side it wasn't. Yeah. Everything that could have gone wrong by just rushing into it is what happened.
Wow.
So I got, you know, a gut punch in my second year in the business. Like I made some decent money. I'm like about to take it to the next level and level up, go to flips, and just get boom, sucker punch right in the stomach, dude.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where people should really hear this message loud and clear. Like, if you are pushing the envelope and trying to take things to the next level, you can't always be too careful. There are going to be things that go wrong. Like,
Yeah.
have you lost money on a flip?
Me, no.
Yeah, you're perfect. Get out of here.
No, no.
Get out of here. Oh man, let me get another host on here. He's lost money for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have a doozy right now that, I'm gonna working with an attorney to do an eviction. So,
Okay.
once they're out, we'll
A
see
simple
what we're gonna
eviction?
do.
Come on. I'm messing with you, but yeah. So I mean, for us, we're kind of like gunslingers. We like to just
Yeah.
let's go fast, let's do a lot, and in that situation, it backfired. And had I vetted a little bit more on the comps or vetted a little bit more on the contractor, sometimes all it takes is just one more conversation to avoid that catastrophe. So third year was a lot of me going in our local market, working my tail off, doing flips to pay back my partner my half of the loss. You know what I mean?
Gosh. Yeah.
So I worked like a free full year essentially in that scenario, which sucked. It sucked super bad. And my partner was like, he even told me after we were all caught up and even, he's like, I wasn't sure if you were just going to bail because we got the crap kicked out of us and didn't know if you were going to stick around, but that's just a lesson. Take the extra step to make sure you got your ducks in a row. And if you're not sure, don't be shy to reach out to someone who is at maybe the level you want to be, the next level, and just ask them. We're especially in our market, our community, thankfully, we're willing to share and help each other.
Yeah, totally.
And that's one of the things is so powerful and I love about our community. So, move on to years 4 and 5. I came across a private lender through my marketing. He got my letter. He was like, hey, I don't want to sell my house, but I got a bunch of money. What kind of return could you give me? So he had, $5 million he was sitting on.
Wow.
And at year 2.5, 3 year that I was in the game, we basically just kept recycling that money. I didn't have to worry about a private lender. He funded 100% of everything.
Wow.
And we just cranked on flips. And we were doing, 20 flips at a time, right around 100 flips within a year.
Yeah.
And did that for a couple years. And then, as I shared with you before, just realized our specialty is not doing tons of flips and managing a lot of projects, because managing just 5 projects is a lot.
Yes,
managing all the contractors and all the different subcontractors and all that stuff. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And a lot of areas to mess up.
There is, yeah. I mean, and going back to, you asked me if I've ever lost money on a flip. I mean, I've as a solo flipper, I've never taken on a high amount of volume. If my pipeline starts to get packed up, I just wholesale out or wholesale what I don't want to keep. So, I mean, I know before I went full time, when I was a project manager, we would be remodeling 10, 12 at a time. Yeah, there was some that, we'd be negative 20 or 30 grand. So, I mean, there was a point where once you start hitting volume, little problems turn into big problems, and big problems are very expensive problems. So, I've kind of thankfully avoided that, but at the same time, I'm not a high volume flipper, like you guys were, where you 1 or 2 bad deals ends up costing you a lot. Yeah,
totally. And another problem that came out of it, whether it was our fault or just the nature of the beast, which I've spoken with other people who are doing good, making good money and doing volume on flips. Cash flow is just is a tough game in that, because
yes, absolutely,
as you got money coming in, it's almost immediately back out on more flips, and not to mention just your marketing costs for getting deals and private money payments and all that kind of stuff. Cash was just flying out the door. Felt broke all the time,
Yeah,
all the time.
for sure.
So from there, spent a couple years doing that and had success. I got another story, another sob story where I don't know if you've heard me tell this or not, but I live in San Diego and was wanting to get into the market here, and so did a couple flips. And
Here
there
in
was
Fresno or in San Diego?
in San Diego, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Was wanting to get into some flips here, and I was like, well, I live here, why not? Like, it's a great market. There's a lot of houses that people need to live in. So
Yeah.
same problems, different city. And there's this one just bad apple, just guy who was in our circle of people and was just a wolf in sheep's clothing,
Oh man.
and took a lot of money from a lot of people.
Really?
Just criminal, like millions and millions of dollars, like
Wow.
just sick, twisted stuff to a lot of people because seemingly everything was going well with that person. And to spare all the details, essentially, I bought into a project for $185,000.
Wow.
I lost all of it. I lost
man.
$187,000 at the end of the day, and that didn't feel good. That was a setback for
Dang.
sure.
Yeah.
But again, a good lesson learned.
Yeah.
Better than a college degree, which is like if you're getting into different business ventures with other people, like go the extra mile to vet people out. Like make the extra phone call. The hard money lender that was in place for that deal, make the phone call to him and make sure everything's kosher.
Okay, guys. So sorry about this. I am back. Unfortunately, my hour and a half battery did not last for an hour and a half. I think it lasted maybe a little less than 30 minutes. So using my iPhone here, Dean is still on. Dean, so circling back, you're getting kicked in the teeth, losing money. So where'd you take it from there?
Yeah, so it's just another. I guess God had a plan for me to just really test me and see what I had. How committed I was to finding success. I mean, everyone's got a path. Everyone's got a different journey. You all hope that everything just goes well. But I have heard so many stories from other people that are similar and resonate, and we all cry on each other's shoulders about how we just had the living crap kicked out of us. And, it can come with the territory. You can avoid it too. And do a good job and just have a good little bit of luck too. But so yeah, man, just coming out of those experiences and being in year, pretty much 6, we realized that doing a ton of flips just wasn't our best strategy, right?
Yeah.
We could do a couple flips at a time. We know what we're doing, but managing too many just wasn't the right way for us to be successful. So we went back to my roots of wholesaling and me being so heavily focused on just marketing, and getting deals directly from property owners themselves. And so, I fine-tuned those skills from day one of just being able to just have real conversations with people and listen to the potential problems that they're having and just finding ways to solve those problems. That's the biggest, one of the biggest skills you can have really in any business, especially in our business of real estate. So just kept leaning in on that. And then we had some strategic, so we started focusing primarily on wholesaling and continuing to buy rentals. 2018 was really the start of saying, all right, need to start buying rentals now. So, or the tail end of 2018. So really started cranking on those and bought a lot in the first 2 years. It's been super slow from buying rentals in the past year and a half for us, just because mostly the numbers haven't penciled. So if they don't, the market's go in cycles. So if they don't pencil out for us, I'm not going to overpay for rentals. So I'll just keep wholesaling and doing flips. So very little purchasing on the rentals, but just refinancing and getting them fine tuned.
Good.
And then we've made some, strategic hires. Our first hire came from someone in our community. I reached out to see who might be interested in coming on to our team as an acquisition manager.
Yeah.
And that was our first hire. It was Alon, and we'd actually been buying properties from him regularly, and him doing very well. But he just, was open and honest. I was like, "Are you gonna take our secrets and leave us a year after?" And he's like, "No, I just don't want to be dealing with the financial parts or worrying about the marketing. I just want to answer the phone, close deals, and go fishing on the weekends." So,
Dude, yeah, I think I told you before, man. I feel like you lucked out so good with Alon. Is he still with you?
he is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, if I expanded to getting an acquisitions manager, I feel like somebody who is wholesaling or trying to wholesale or even like an active agent would be that perfect
Yeah.
person because they know negotiation, they know sales, they know numbers, but like maybe they don't want that 10 or 20 or $30,000 overhead a month.
Oh yeah.
They don't want to have to deal with payroll, don't want to have to deal with sending all the marketing, but they love to just get on the phone and close deals and make 150, 200, 250 a year, and not have to sit in that business owner seat.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly right. And from there, then we hired, just right around the same time, an office manager. And then we've since hired lead manager for all of our leads who, wears the hat of lead manager and acquisition manager.
Yeah.
And again, he was another wholesaler who was doing great, and we were buying deals from, we were partnering on some deals on, and doing phenomenal. But I couldn't help but ask him, like, dude, we really need someone on the team. Like, would you be interested? Because we were talking to each other so often, and I just saw, so much talent there. So we've got a kick-ass team right now. I brought on my brother-in-law as well. He's handling marketing for us now.
Wow.
So he's going to be fine-tuning that over the time.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of the pieces of the puzzle coming together. And it still feels like we have room for more people to join the team. Like, if we could have a business development manager that just focused on relationships and events for us.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, that person's going to be busy because there's so much room for us to grow in those areas. And there's a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon, man.
Definitely. Dude, that's so cool. So let me ask you this. So I think if I remember correctly, I think a lot of wholesalers send you their deals, right? And then you kind of co-wholesale some stuff. Is that a good chunk of your business right now?
Yeah, it's a great chunk of our business. I call it the Friends with Benefits program.
Yes, yeah. I see those. Yeah, I see those posts and those checks.
Yeah. So I was thinking of something clever and catchy that what people would get a chuckle out of. But essentially, like, to sum up what that is, we've had a lot of people, without us even like really thinking about it or intentionally like strategizing about this plan, as we were flipping, and then even as we were wholesaling, so many people, just knowing what we were doing, would reach out to us. They'd ask for help. They'd ask, if we could buy a deal from them, ask if we could help them on a deal. And I just kind of like put it all together. I was like, let me try to package this up so it's clear that we have something to offer of value to other people. And the more I communicate about that, the more that people, really latch onto it and make the most out of it. And so to kind of sum up what that looks like, it could be a bunch of different flavors of scenarios, but the two most common scenarios are going to be someone that is actively pursuing a lead and they feel like they have a deal. They want to vet it with us, right?
Yeah.
So, hey guys, I got this lead. It looks pretty good. Can I get another set of eyes? What is this house worth after it's fixed up? Yeah. How many repairs does it need? What price should I offer to them? So we'll give that guidance, and to take it a step further, we even offer to every single person, like, use us like we're your partner. Wow. Okay, use us like we're your partner from every standpoint, from a resource standpoint, from a time standpoint. So if you need us to run comps, if you need us to go on the appointment with the seller, if you need us to negotiate and have follow up with the seller, if you need us to get it under contract, and then everything from there to closing, we'll do everything. We'll do everything, and we'll split it 50-50 with you. So someone could literally just say, hey, I spoke to this seller, they're interested in selling, but have really done nothing more. They might send that over to us and the team. We make contact. We end up getting under contract, closing it. We might have done all of the work. We might have made $40,000. We'll still split it 50-50 with them.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. For us, it makes a lot of sense because we're in the trenches every day. We just love deals. We love doing deals and having win-win relationships. And then kind of the other scenario is people that even just have a deal that they already bought and own, or they got it under contract and they know that they want to sell it for top dollar and make it super simple. Like, hey, I'm just good at finding deals, but like I don't really have that good of buyers. I have escrows that fall out. Like, we are tenacious with having the best buyers that pay top dollar, and then we're bulldogs on escrow to make sure that escrow is handled as smoothly as it possibly can, because we know escrow is kind of wild and problems can happen. So we're extremely in touch with the sellers, with escrow, with the buyers, and just do our best to get it closed and get it closed on time and avoid problems. So we've gotten really good at that. We've gotten a really good reputation of doing a great job. So we continue to have more and more people that bring us their business and trust us in that process. And that means a lot to us. Because we've done over $1 million in revenue just in this calendar year from that friends with benefit model all on its own.
Man, that's so amazing. So, I mean, have you guys spent a lot of time developing that cash buyers list?
Oh, yeah, a ton of time. When we first started a couple years ago, focusing on wholesaling and slowing down the flips, we just had a couple local guys on the list, like just our friends pretty much, and that worked well. We were making money, but we were definitely leaving a lot of money on the table. And for me, there's been just a ton of time from word of mouth relationships and from, actively pursuing, looking at just the public records and reaching out and making contact. I would say this, like, anybody can actually go in today, because people have, created these things. You can go buy a buyer's list.
Yes, you can.
And I've done it myself just to test it out, see like what the quality is. But I can tell you, it's similar to like buying a list and cold calling them. It's a cold list.
Yeah.
If you go buy a buyer's list and you just blast 1,000 people with a deal that might not even be a great deal, you're going to upset a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're going to kind of like have a bad first impression. So what we have done a good job at, I believe, is we build a relationship from the very first conversation. We set really clear expectations. At the end of the day, it's pretty easy to get a buyer on your list because you have something of value that they want, and that's a deal. But for you to protect yourself and your company and your brand, it's just as important for you to qualify them and make sure that they're legit.
Absolutely.
Make sure that they're not just looking to steal a deal from you. And I got stories about that,
Yes, you do. I think we all do, man.
Yeah, we all do. And in this business, there's a low barrier to entry to get in. You just say you're an investor tomorrow and you could go buy a house. Like, if you find a deal or you happen to have money, you can buy a house tomorrow. Doesn't mean you're a good investor. Doesn't mean you're an ethically high standard investor. So you do get some knuckleheads that kind of find their way into the business and do things the wrong way.
Yeah, I think what's amazing about real estate, or at least this, on the investment side, for those of us who are kind of that direct to seller, I feel like the majority of people in this business are really good.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like I mean, good as in like they're good people,
Right.
right? Like there is this internal desire to go out and help people, and to even help our friends or competitors. But I will say I am definitely reluctant to blast out deals, especially publicly, because I know there are those people that they don't care. They'll go and knock on the door if they
Oh,
see
yeah.
a house hit their email. So I 100% agree in that, in vetting buyers. Just like you would vet, almost like you would vet a business partner, checking in with referrals or other resources, look at their tax records to make sure that they have purchased. I mean, and, to me, one thing that I say is, some people talk about proof of funds and all that, send your proof of funds. Like, dude, anybody can fake a proof of funds,
Oh,
but
100%.
you can't fake tax records. I mean, once something records and it hits those tax records, they're there. I can send you $1 billion proof of funds, but if you can't find my LLC and the tax records that I'm purchasing houses, then it doesn't really matter what I send you.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I touched on it earlier, but our community of people is awesome. And I would encourage anybody who's just getting started or even experienced that isn't doing it now. It's kind of hard. It almost is counterintuitive until you start doing it and realize that it makes so much sense. When
Yeah.
I first got started, like, I don't know if I wouldn't say I had a scarcity mindset because I believed in abundance, but I stayed in my own lane. Like I kept my
Yeah.
head down, and like a lot of people didn't even really know me at all for probably the first like 5 years. They might have seen our company and like heard of me, but I was kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Like, who's this guy behind the curtain? Like,
Yeah.
I've never even seen this guy. And it's just because I kind of kept things close, tight
Yeah.
knit, and just stayed in our lane. And we were cranking stuff out. And I didn't really do a lot of outreach. But then I just finally clicked. I was like, dude, it's way more fun being tied in with other people.
It
And
is.
these people who I might have viewed as competition, actually they're almost like little partners, like mini
Yeah.
partners.
Definitely.
If you treat them correctly and show respect to each other, and we're all competitive, we're all going after the same deals sometimes, but rather than being like, oh no, I'm gonna talk bad about them or just do whatever I got to do to win this deal, pick up the phone and make a phone call to my
Oh, yeah.
buddy Mike
Yep.
Butler and be like,
Yep.
yo, dude, I heard your name come out of the seller's mouth.
Yeah.
Dude, let's work on this together,
Saw your postcard on the kitchen counter.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so much more fun. And when you start opening your mind to just working with other people, you realize actually more opportunities come, right?
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
as I mentioned, like this year alone, by sharing information, sharing our resources, being more accessible to other people, dude, the universe has just like sent that right back to us.
Yeah.
And people are coming to us to help them with their business, and we're super happy to. It's a win-win
Yeah.
for everybody, and it just is so much more fun.
It is, definitely. Now, touching kind of on the personal side, I know we kind of briefly spoke about it before, but it seems like every time I see you post on Facebook or anywhere, stories, dude, you're at the beach with your family, right? You're going out for ice cream with your kids. I mean, tell me about that dynamic, because I know that you're operating a pretty good sized operation. I mean, like you said, even just from the referrals, you guys have done 7 figures. So I can imagine you're direct to seller. You guys are probably cranking out a lot of deals. You've got a
Yeah.
good sized staff. So how are you managing, being with family every day, or what does your day look like as a, both as a husband, father, and a business owner?
Yeah, so to date, and obviously we still have the rest of the month here, last month of the year. We're on average at 10 deals under contract a month, and that's with some being at like 15 within a month, and some
Yeah.
being lower and
Sure.
averaging out. But we're on average about 10 deals a month, and we've closed, like, no disputing it. These deals have closed. We've closed. I think it's at like 108 or 109. So we're like, and we got one that's closing today, and a couple more this week. So, or one tomorrow.
Dang.
So I mean, we're like at 110 closed for the year,
Yeah.
and it couldn't be done. It could not be done without our team. Like, our team
Yeah.
is working their asses off, and the cool thing is we just had a a real conversation earlier this week. Like we're cranking, but like we could all be doing so much better on our team. We have so much room for improvement and a higher potential that we haven't even reached yet. And a lot of that comes from the leadership from me and my
Yes,
partner.
totally.
So I'm putting the onus on myself. Like I need to be a better leader within the organization, and from there, like everybody can perform so much better and all benefit from it. So
Yeah.
yeah, just in terms of like what life looks like, it's kind of interesting because, you know, Jason Pritchard has a cult following on his Instagram. He has a little over 1,000 followers, but you think he'd have, you know, 1 million followers with all the
Yeah,
people
totally.
that respond to his polls and stuff. So shout out to you, Jason. Had to give you some love.
Yeah.
But you know, he's walking around showing us properties. He's in his office with his cool pictures, and there's a lot to like desire about that. It looks super
Yeah.
cool, and it's fun to show. I can't do that because I'm in like essentially a virtual investor.
Yeah.
I live in La Jolla down in San Diego, and the rest of my team is living up in the market where I'm at. So I can't go show my rental properties. I can't show, you know, our evictions. I can't show this flip that we're doing. I can't show me walking into the bank to go pick up a closing check. You know, I can show screenshots of sending wires or money coming in, but
Yeah.
it's less engaging than like me walking around showing this
Totally.
stuff. So what do I have to show? I mean, mostly just show me cruising around with the family, which to dive into that, like because of what the business provides in terms of flexibility is I wind up being around my family pretty much all day long.
Yeah.
It's quiet right now and no one's screaming because they're out of the house doing some school event. But usually, you know, when I pick up the phone and it's a buyer wanting to buy one of our deals, they're usually laughing and they're like, "You're always with your kids."
Yeah.
And there's always kids screaming in the background when I'm on my phone. Or I'm at the park with the kids, or we're cruising around in the golf cart to go get ice cream or a burrito somewhere, right? So it's pretty cool, right? I get to spend a lot of time with them. But it is interesting. It's an interesting dynamic that we could like spend a whole episode on talking about, like
Absolutely.
figuring out the balance, right? Because I even find myself being in those moments, but still on my phone, right? So
Yep.
it's one of those really tricky things to try to figure out. And part of it is tricky because I am around them so often to be around them during working hours
Yep.
that it's almost like confusing to them sometimes too. But regardless of that little dynamic and the balance, it is a blessing to be able to spend so much FaceTime with them,
Totally.
and be able to share some of those moments more frequent than, you know, the normal person commuting to work, you know.
Yeah, it is a crazy dynamic. I mean, because in a lot of ways, I'm kind of in that same boat. You know, having 5 little kids, it's like I can't just put that all on my wife and,
Yeah.
you know, leave at 8 a.m. and come back at 5 or 6 and say, well, good luck. You know, hopefully we have a good marriage when I come home.
Yeah.
So, you know, so usually 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 days of the week, I'm with a kid or 2 or 3, you know, either here at the office or just working out of my home. You know, and it is hard. I mean, it's hard on both sides. So, I mean, there is a really cool dynamic, really cool balance, and there's that blessing of being with my kids. But at the same time, it's like, you know, every day I face this where it's nice and peaceful. Phone call comes in, and the second I take a phone call, it's like, you know, all hell breaks loose.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he hit me, she hit me,
Oh, yeah.
he pulled my hair, and
It's just quiet a second
that-
ago. As soon as my
Yeah.
phone rings, everybody loses their stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like chaos. And like you're trying
Yeah.
to parent, or you know, my kids are super rambunctious and like to play. They're like, you know, Dada, come play, come chase me, come play tag or whatever.
yeah,
And so often I do that, but at certain times where business calls, usually during working hours,
yeah,
it's like it's confusing for them. So it's just one of those like interesting dynamics that's hard. And for me, it drives me to try to get closer to that, you know, passive income level faster,
Yeah.
so that I and shift a lot of the business income to that, so that it can be like a little more hands off more than it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I'm, looking at the same thing. Thinking about your situation, like you said, you're down in La Jolla. So it's like by default, you have to be as hands off as you physically can. Which I think is
Yeah.
cool. I mean, in a way, I see the challenges that gives the business, but also it's like you have to let go of some things, right? There are some things that you literally cannot do because
Yeah.
you're not 20 minutes away from your property or from escrow or from the seller. So it's like by default, you have to send someone out to your appointment. You have to send someone out to inspect a property or to manage a property. And I see, the challenge in that, but at the same time, that by default frees you up to do other things, whether that's work on your business or just be present in your family. And I think that's really great. And even realizing, though, it's like even being local, people who are local can do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not just because you're a 7-hour drive away that you have to do that. I mean, even here, being in my local market, I could do the same thing, and other people can do the same thing and have that freedom by taking stuff off our plate and focusing on the things that matter the most.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those tricky balances, and especially for people, typically entrepreneurs have a certain mindset, like they're just wired different, and they have typically larger goals than the average person, and they want to accomplish those, and so it can get pretty tricky. One thing that's helped just recently, and it's just me trying to get out of my own way, and I feel like I do an exceptional job at the things that I focus on, and I do, and I'm very confident in that. But if I can empower other people and set a high standard and give clear expectations and clear support to allow them to do their best, that's only going to accelerate that other person's growth. It's going to allow them to perform better. It's going to allow me to remove myself and provide more time to have with the family, to focus on other things, and just allow us all to just do better at the bottom line. So that's it's not that I didn't know this, but I've put a much larger emphasis just in the past month in handing over more responsibility to people and challenging them and being really, really clear. And everyone's going to be different. I think that one thing for me, just to kind of share this, because this might resonate with some people, like finding my voice within my own company, right? It's my own company. And again, I talk to sellers. I have amazing, difficult, challenging conversations. Same thing with escrow and buyers and lenders. I've had all sorts of conversations, but sometimes in your own business, working with employees, you can struggle, or at least I have, finding my voice. Like, okay, I want to be liked. I want to be respected. I don't want to offend anybody. I want them to feel comfortable. So it's an interesting thing as a business owner to work through those things. And for me, I've found a more of a voice just in this past year to be more direct in a respectful way, but like set better expectations and then also do better to support them in that. And I think it's definitely had good results as a result of doing that. So the ownership at the end of the day always comes back to you.
Absolutely.
No one's going to care as much as you do as the business owner. So whether you're successful or not, always comes back to you. That's where it lands.
Definitely. Well, I think we're pushing up around an hour here. So real quick, tell me about a new project, your YouTube channel. You are working on right now. What's going on with that? Why are you doing that? What do you have in store for us here?
Well, our friend Stratton Brown, I've been talking with him a lot more lately, and I love talking to him every time. He just motivates me to think of different things and to push me outside of my comfort zone, and he really just has the best interest in, it seems like, the people that he's around, right?
Totally.
And so I really respect that about him. And he's doing a phenomenal job at going to different masterminds and leveling
Yes,
up his
definitely.
thinking and his relationships and connections. And so at the end of the day, he's like, dude, you got to get a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to put content out there. You know a bunch of stuff. More people need to be connected with you. And it kind of plays into the whole friends with benefits thing we've done this past year,
Yeah.
where we just have been helping out a lot of people. So basically, it's just one of those things, man, where it's like, all right, Stratton pushed me off the ledge.
Yeah.
I bought the stuff, so I've already
Good.
spent money on it. And I'm just going to start cranking content. And his team is actually going to be doing all the editing and supporting
Good.
it. So it's just like,
That's awesome.
that was kind of the barriers to entry, is like, all right, I can't be editing this stuff. I'll drive
Yep.
myself nuts.
Yes, sir.
Spend way too much time. So, yeah, man, I hope to, my YouTube channel, if you just search Dean Rogers, you'll find me on there on YouTube. You'll see a mugshot of me, and just started out. So content's going to be start to be piling in, and it's going to be all things real estate and also other business ventures that I'm getting into and investing into things.
Yeah.
And so I just hope to share the good and the bad, and share some real specific details of what we're doing in our business to be successful, and bringing on cool people like you to just talk about your story and hope and help inspire and motivate other people. And I know YouTube has done a tremendous amount for my career to learn
Yes,
specific
definitely.
skills
Yeah.
and to get connected to other people and to implement other things in my business. So I hope to do the same to other people.
Man, that's awesome. Really awesome. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I will go ahead and I'll get your link and I'll drop it down into the description so people can, click there and go subscribe to you. So I know I'm really looking forward to your content. One last thing before we sign off. Dean, if somebody is looking to get started in real estate, whether it's wholesaling, flipping, whatever they want to do, what do you think your number one suggestion or tip is for them?
Yeah, so number one, hands down, is starting with YouTube. Like, if
Yeah.
there's so much free content that will spell every detail out for you.
Yeah.
Try to find somebody that really resonates with you in terms of the way that they communicate, the level of detail that you need. Some people don't want too much detail. They're like,
Yeah,
yo,
totally.
there's just too much. I need high level, and I'll figure it out from there. Some
Yeah.
people need, like, click here, right? And need it spelled out. And that's how I was. Like, I got the concept, but I needed detail. Like, do this, and I'll follow it, and I'll see how it works out. So go to YouTube, find someone that resonates with you, follow them, and take action. Take action. Do it right away. It's not going to be easy. I happen to get my first deal closed within 3 months of deciding I was going to do it. Some people, it takes a year, right?
Yeah.
Not because they weren't trying, not because they're not good enough. Everyone's got a different path. And I know some mega successful people that say it took them 8 months or 12 months to get their first deal closed,
Yeah.
and they're mega successful. So if you're committed, stick to it. And then I would say, a coach isn't a bad thing, but pick the right coach, do the extra phone calls, make sure it's real, and they're the right fit for you. But don't spend money before you've made money. Go learn it for free from people who are giving real legit information, and figure it out like I did off of a free podcast. I didn't even have a video. Couldn't even look at anything. I was just listening, commuting to work every day and listening at every second I could. So you can do it too.
I 100% agree. I did the exact same thing. So, yeah, just take action, learn. So, well, there goes your camera again.
There it goes.
Yeah. So it's perfect time, man. Appreciate you. Would definitely love to have another episode really where we talk about that family dynamic. It sounds like that can, really have a deep dive. But, man, I appreciate you. Again, guys, go check out Dean's YouTube channel, subscribe to it, subscribe to this one. And guys, I will see you next time.